Today's edition of Housing Development will be centered on building collapses in Nigeria that is on the increase in recent times. This is becoming an issue of major concern as it poses threat to the national development of our great nation because on every occasion, affected individuals are rendered homeless while businesses are lost. It is not good for us as a people, and we cannot be losing innocent lives to collapses that are man-made. Stakeholders, building professionals, and responsible government agencies must all wake up and stop treating these continuous occurrences with levity. Government must take a step in order to prevent the common problem of building collapse in the country. This is Housing Development with your housing diva, Flora Ani. Let's get to see the latest happenings in the housing sector. I'll be back in a moment.
The Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers, NCRIB, has expressed regret over the collapse of a 7-story building at Banana Island in Lagos State. The 7-story building under construction at Banana Island, Ikoyi, collapsed on Wednesday at about 5 p.m. while concreting was ongoing on the 6th floor. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in a statement, said no death was recorded. However, workers were trapped in the building and a response team had been mobilized to search for those trapped in the rubble. Rotimi Edu, President NCRIB, also in a statement made available in Lagos, described the incident as a case of negligence by the building experts who undertook the construction. According to him, the sensitivity of public buildings necessitates the need for builders and owners to imbibe insurance policies. Stakeholders in the built environment have outlined steps to take in order to avoid falling victim of land racketeers. According to the Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAD, Executive Director Festus Adebayo, when purchasing land in Abuja, there are 5 key documents to request prior to making payment. He said, prospective buyers have a responsibility to request and confirm title document and a location letter from the seller or developer. Another document that is vital, according to him, is Survey Technical Drawing Plan, TDP, showing the perimeter and survey data of the estate plot. Adebayo also mentioned approved detailed site development plan by Urban and Regional Planning Department, an approved layout plan of the estate, as well as the approved prototype house design of the proposed house as being an essential document. The HDAN Executive Director equally advised the buyer to obtain a copy of the layout plan showing his or her plot location.
To read the full details of the news, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Over a span of 20 years, Nigeria has witnessed a significant increase in building collapse that has resulted in loss of lives and livelihood, as well as the displacement of families. Recently, there has been building collapse in Abuja, Lagos, and other parts of the country, resulting to loss of lives and investment, placing the general public in fear. What can we say are the causes of the frequent collapse, and what is the way forward? Uyi Agbomofwebe will take us through on that.
Wednesday, the 12th of April 2023, may have started as every other day for residents of Banana Island, an extravagantly affluent area of Lagos State. However, that day was not to end as they had expected.
Anguish, heartbreak, and irreparable losses. Those are the words that often characterize aftermath of a building collapse. And it does not matter whether it happens in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kwara, or Lagos. The collapse of a 7-story building in Banana Island, Lagos, and its attendant destruction is evidently the little dark corner of the construction industry that experts, regulators, and investors have grappled with for years. While many believe the age-long practice of condemning building collapse falls drastically short of the desperately needed solution to halt the trend, the victims have had to endlessly seek solace and compensation.
Given these numerous instances of building collapse we now see in Nigeria, it is only pertinent to ask, what are the implications? I'll speak to experts to help us with perspectives and insights.
While reacting to the collapse of a building under construction along 7th Avenue in the Gwarimpa area of Abuja last February, the president of Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, Dr. Aliyu Wamako, highlighted issues that are generic and common to the threat of building collapse across the country.
I also blame the National Assembly because we in the real estate business, we believe everywhere in the country there is real estate regulation law, but there is no regulation in Nigeria. We come together, we applied for a law that will regulate the real estate, and unfortunately, the House of Representatives, for concurrence, this bill has been passed by the Senate for the past 8 months. But because of the slow nature of what they are doing, up to now, this bill has not come out. And if this bill should have been on ground, it will tackle the issue of building collapse. Why? Because building collapse, if people are adhering to the National Building Code, definitely speaking, the ugly incident that happens here will not happen again if there is adherence to the National Building Code, which this law regulating the real estate business in the country has already captured this. And I believe if this is not being looked into, when there is no law, everybody can come and say it's a developer. There is no regulation that is regulating that. So how will you now avoid building collapse? How will you avoid sharp practice in the industry? So many people have been duped by quack developers.
Lending his voice to the calls for conscious efforts aimed at stopping building collapse to be made, President of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, NITP, Town Planner Nathaniel Atebije, laments the lack of value placed on human life as being a major factor responsible for this unfortunate reality.
Let me say that painfully, this nation has no value for the lives of its citizens. It's very painful. And this is a contradiction of the provisions of the Constitution of this nation. Now, in terms of construction sites, we have quite a lot of things that are supposed to be done, to protect people on construction sites. For example, it is mandatory for anybody who is going into a site of this magnitude of development, there should be an insurance cover. There should be an insurance cover. But how many of the buildings or how many of the construction sites are insured?
Again, Dr. Wamako calls on the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, to rise to the occasion and enforce its mandates with commitment and vigor.
Standard organization to also be watchful on some of the iron rods that are being in the market, because the iron rod in the market, some of them are substandard and nobody cares to check them. And it's the duty of SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, to make sure that all these iron rods are up to the task they are expected to be. You can see an iron 16 and it is not as strong as even the iron 12. So that is some of the problems.
This is Honorable Solomon Maren in 2017, moving a motion for a bill seeking adoption and enforcement of the National Building Code.
The bill seeks to enforce the National Building Code, which is a comprehensive document developed over the years in Nigeria by professionals, academicians, private sector, and indeed regulatory agencies of government in the built environment. All over the world, honorable colleagues, codes exist as guides, conditions and criteria to be met before the design and development of infrastructure is carried out, whether it's a private or a public building.
While critical stakeholders and regulators believe that the National Building Code is an essential document that will come in handy when it comes to checking the menace of building collapse in Nigeria, it is the hope of everyday Nigerian that this will be the last of these ugly incidents. Uyi Agmofwegbe, Housing Development.
Welcome back. Many of the documented cases of building collapse in Nigeria are due to use of defective or substandard building materials, no requisite technical knowledge, non-adherence to building codes and standards, the use of non-professionals, the list goes on. Let's go to the street to see the reactions of Nigerians on the incessant cases of building collapse in the country, most especially in Lagos State.
Our system here does not encourage excellence. They don't supervise our system, our laws. People don't care. They do their things on their own. Nobody to supervise, yes. They architect professionally or whoever professionally doesn't do their job because nobody is checkmating them. And even when it happens, nobody is held responsible for that. So it's a big problem for our country. If the Lagos State government had done what is right, it has been happening. That's not the first time. Buildings have been collapsing all over Nigeria, all over the world. But other countries will always take action. If it happens today, they will take action and punish whoever, irrespective of his position, irrespective of who he is. They will take action and punish whoever is the culprit. But that is just what we don't need. We don't have here in our country. People flop the law, people do whatever they want. Nobody question them.
In my opinion, the government has her faults and also the developer. I think that is what I can say. None of them can be absolved from what happened. The developer should strictly follow quality procedures, international best practices, avoid sharp, cutting corners and sharp practices. And the government should do diligence in supervising, buildings like that. I'm sure there's an arm of government who is supposed to be supervising the project as it's going on.
I believe the engineers are to be blamed. Before you build anything, before you claim to be a professional, you went to school for this course, and under your watch a building collapsed, you are to be blamed because you didn't do your due diligence to checking the kind of land, to buying good products and everything. You have to do your diligence before you build anything. I think it's the engineers to be blamed. The government have nothing to do about it. It's the engineers.
The government is to be blamed because anyone who wants to undergo such a project should have been given a vivid investigation, because you cannot engage on such projects. There should have been quality material, for instance, from the foundation level. So I think the government should be blamed, and then the architects and the engineers are to be blamed as well. So.
When starting a building project, it is mandatory to get building plan approval, which is a permit from appropriate authorities in Nigeria before construction can commence. Getting a building plan approval is an indication that the building complies with building laws and regulations. It is expected that a developer or individual gets building approval before mobilizing to site and adhere strictly to them while construction is going on. But then, what do we see happening these days? Buildings under construction collapsing like a pack of cards. How do we correct this? Take a listen to this housing expert.
Building collapse in Nigeria is becoming alarming, as there is constant media report about collapsed buildings in major cities. Statistics show that since 1974, there have been 461 building collapses in Nigeria, with over 1,090 deaths and many injured. Housing Development Program crew spoke with some experts in the housing sector about the major cause of these recurring incidents of building collapse in Nigeria.
In building, for instance, because people are building with the intention of renting out such structures, they are a bit careless. Just put anything. People, it's not for people to live in. So it's that attitude, that greed, that is leading to people using substandard materials, substandard human beings. That is very critical. The human being is the real issue why we have collapse, not even the material.
Buildings collapse all over the world, but ours have become too regular, and it is because certain things are not being done right. The first reason why a building will collapse is if there are technical failures. And technical failures, I mean, if there is faulty design. When a building collapses, it means that the construction safety plan is faulty.
On what government agencies and other regulatory bodies can do to help tame the issues of building collapse to avoid future occurrences, they said.
In all the states of the Federation, we have what you have like building control offices, stamp line, all kinds of things. In Abuja, it's called Development Control Department. They have a responsibility to give approval to anybody putting any structure down in FCT. So by the time you complete your design of your building, you send it to them. They are supposed to say, okay, this building is suitable for the land that you have. They see all through, and at the end, they are supposed to issue you a certificate of completion. And also certificate to say that this house is fit for occupation. If that is done diligently, we'll have this problem.
There are 4 documents that must be in place. The first is the construction planning and scheduling the program. The second is the construction methodology. How are you going to do it? The third is the health and safety plan of the project, and the fourth is buildability and maintainability.
With all these said, it is important that all experts linked to building constructions do not overlook use of substandard building materials, adhere to building codes and standards, and use high-level professionals to execute projects. That way, human life and investments will be preserved and housing collapse will be reduced to the barest minimum.
Welcome back. Still on building collapse, most especially the recent one that happened in Banana Island. Before I say more, let's have a look at how the building went down.
Jesus!
That is Banana Island in Lagos State, a highbrow area. The island is the most expensive in Nigeria and one of the most expensive in Africa to own a house. Why did this building still under construction collapse? What is the way forward? Let's take a listen to Festus Adebayo, the Executive Director, Housing Development Advocacy Network.
The issue of building collapse is a very serious challenge to Nigerian construction industry. So what would have happened to that building, and why did that building collapse? Is it that he used substandard materials? Who are the people that are involved? We are asking. Who is the developer? Which company is involved in the construction? And so the information we got from Lagos State government is very embarrassing. I cannot even understand what is going on in Lagos. The other time, there was Osborne. Before that time, we have had many cases. And in fact, from the reports, from the building collapse group, they reported that in the last 10, 15 years, the number of cases of collapsed building, about 550. Lagos has over 330, over 50%. So what is going on in Lagos? What is going on in Lagos? And look at the kind of report they gave to us. That is 7-story building unapproved. I can't understand that. How can somebody build a house from 1st story, 2nd story, 3rd story, 7th story? And the ministry that is responsible is saying unapproved. What happened? Who is it? Who is in charge of that area among the staff? What is going on? I call on the governor of Lagos State to show a political will to arrest this issue of building collapse. We can't continue like this. It's an embarrassment.
Festus Adebayo there, Executive Director, Housing Development Advocacy Network. The spate of collapse of buildings under construction in recent time, with the attendant loss of lives, properties, investment, income, is a sad development that calls for question the credibility and integrity of the entire construction process, from planning approval, building permits, to the monitoring of the actual construction, to ensure that they conform to the approvals given up to the issuance of certificates of fit for habitation. At this point, when building collapse is becoming incessant, all hands must be on deck towards bridging such occurrences. I will be back in a moment. You're watching Housing Development. Now here is a quick one from the organizers of Africa International Housing Show.
Abuja Housing Show is where new thinking, new ideas were being cooked, where paradigms are being shifted, where capacities are being built, where talents and new thinkings are being showcased, where new products are being showcased. It connects the demand side to the supply side, and it's not just a trade fair where you go to buy. You also buy not only material things, you get knowledge. Because people do come all over the world to share their best practices. So best practices were shared, and people always leave the trade fair always enriched, always better. About 3-4 years ago, I made it compulsory for all my master students to participate in the fair. If they don't participate, then they cannot say that they have enriched program. If it's good for me, it's good for my students, it's good for all Nigerians. You have what you want. Are you looking for new ideas, new ways of doing what you have been doing and not getting results? Come, you will see someone who has tried new thinking and has gotten results. You want to enter into the market and you are just a novice, you want to learn. Come, you will have clear mind after the housing fair. So I'm really encouraging us that block those days, block it in your calendar and really come there. You will be blessed. You did.
Abuja Housing Show is a unique platform. It's literally the one place where you can get the best minds in Nigerian real estate coming together and sharing ideas, and you can get all the information you need under one roof. And it's something we've been part of for a while, and we intend to continue being part of it. And we're looking forward to the one happening this July.
I've always liked the idea of Abuja International Housing Show. I've always supported AITS. I see it as a unique platform to network, to learn, and to share experiences.
Abuja International Housing Show has been the baby of hydroform. Since inception, I can tell you that we have never missed one. So we at Hydroform endorses Abuja Housing Show, and we recommend it to the general public, and we are using this platform to say you are going to miss a lot if you don't show up.
With the incessant cases of building collapse, building regulatory agencies need to ensure that building construction meets the highest standards to guarantee quality assurance in building production and management in order to end the recent wave of building collapse across the country. On that note, I say thanks for watching Housing Development. I remain your housing diva, Flora Annie. Let us say no to building collapse. Let's save lives and properties. I'll see you soon.